Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the world of medication-assisted treatment for opioid addiction. And we're going to do it by looking at one person's incredible story, which really gets to the heart of a huge debate in recovery. Is the final goal stability on medication for life, or is it to one day be free of it entirely?
So let's get right into it. I want you to meet Stacy. For 9 years, Suboxone has been a part of her daily life, a medication that, for all intents and purposes, saved her. But now, she's come to a crossroads and decided it's time to move on. And that choice, well, it forces all of us to look at the opioid crisis in a much more nuanced way.
And that really brings us to this fundamental question, doesn't it? This is something that's being debated everywhere, from support groups to doctors' offices. What does success in recovery actually look like? Is it staying stable on medication long-term? Or is it a bridge to a life that's eventually free from all of it? Stacy's story is the perfect lens to look at this through.
To really wrap our heads around what's at stake here, we have to understand how Stacy got to this point in the first place, and the role this one medication has played in her life for almost a decade.
Okay, so Stacy's journey began with an addiction to prescribed opiates. She was eventually put on Suboxone, which is a key part of what's called medication-assisted treatment, or MAT. The whole idea is pretty straightforward. You use this medication to stop the cravings, to stop the withdrawal, so you can actually get your life back on track and rebuild.
And for Stacy, it absolutely worked. I mean, those are her own words. The medication gave her a chance to breathe. She could hold down a job. She could be a mom. She could live without the constant fear of an overdose, a fear that was all too real, as it had tragically taken her own sister. It was, without a doubt, a lifeline.
But here's where the story takes a turn. Because as the years went by, the very system that gave her that lifeline started to change, and her feelings about the medication started to change right along with it.
You see, when Stacy first started, the program was intense. We're talking high accountability. You had to see special doctors, go to mandatory counseling and meetings, take frequent drug tests, the whole 9 yards. But over time, that structure just kind of dissolved. Doctor visits went virtual, therapy requirements faded, and that whole accountability piece just seemed to disappear.
And for Stacy, that's the moment the lifeline started to feel a lot more like a crutch. Without all that support built around it, she felt like the medication itself was just another dependency, something tethering her to a life she was desperate to leave behind.
So you have to ask, what happened? How did things change so much? Well, this wasn't just in Stacy's head. A huge change in federal policy completely altered the landscape of addiction treatment in the United States.
In early 2023, the government got rid of something called the X waiver. Now, this was a special certification, a bunch of extra hoops doctors had to jump through just to be able to prescribe Suboxone. The goal was admirable: get this life-saving drug to more people. And it definitely worked. But it also kind of opened the floodgates.
And wow, you can really see the result right here. I mean, look at these numbers. In just the year after the waiver was gone, the number of hospitalists prescribing Suboxone shot up by 70%. Physician assistants up 50%. Family medicine up 37%. This data is the perfect reflection of what Stacy was seeing on the ground.
This massive expansion, especially with the rise of telehealth, led to what Stacy felt was a real lack of oversight. She was being prescribed triple the dose she actually needed, and it seemed like nobody was really checking in.
So what you end up with is this entire treatment system that's just buckling under the pressure. It's creating all these strange paradoxes that, frankly, aren't helping patients or doctors.
With way more medication out there and way less oversight, a black market just exploded. And Stacy is brutally honest about this. She sold her extra strips for about $10 a pop and used that money to buy meth. Her own words are just haunting. She was fueling one addiction with a prescription meant to treat another. But here's the other side of that coin, and it's just as wild. While some people have extra medication to sell, other patients with perfectly valid prescriptions who need the medicine can't get it. Look at this. A recent study found that over half the time, the pharmacy's just out of stock. Throw in insurance headaches and pharmacists being wary of telehealth prescriptions, and you have a system that's failing from every angle. And the doctors? They're caught right in the middle. Even as the government made it easier to prescribe, other agencies like the DEA ramped up scrutiny. So you have doctors saying they feel harassed, like they're being treated like criminals, for just trying to prescribe a perfectly legal, life-saving medication. It's a mess. So it's this broken, contradictory, chaotic system that ultimately led Stacy to say, you know what? I have to find a different way forward. I have to get out of this.
She's making a really big change. She's switching from the daily Suboxone strips to something called the Sublocade shot. It's a monthly injection that releases the same active ingredient, but it does it slowly and steadily over time. And for Stacy, the goal here is clear. Use a few shots over the next several months to gently and gradually wean herself off the medication for good.
For Stacy, this is about so much more than just stopping a prescription. Think about it. After a decade where her life has been so defined by addiction and by treatment, she just wants to find out who she is without it all. It's an incredibly brave step toward defining recovery on her own terms. You know, Stacy's story doesn't really give us any easy answers. What it does is leave us with that essential question. For some people, staying on medication for life is what keeps them stable, what keeps them alive. For others, like Stacy, true recovery means getting to a place where you can finally let go of the crutch. Her journey proves that success just isn't one size fits all, and that maybe the most important thing is giving people the support and the freedom to choose their own path.